we are having to relook at our cost structures and our price structures. So, question that I'm going to ask all of you is, are we making these common pricing strategy mistakes? It is very critical. Too low a price, you enter the market, you don't make money. Too high a price, you're out competition, if I can use this word. So how do I know what to charge for my product and service? It's a very common question that anybody that I have a conversation with, whether it is an existing client or a prospect or just a conversation over coffee that I keep on having with a lot of people, this question keeps on coming up. How do I know what to charge for my product or service? Most of the business owners that I meet are unsure. They don't know, and it's nothing to do with the small and medium business owners. It's got to do with the larger ecosystem of business. Could be the MNCs, be it the small and medium business owners, could it be anything. End of the day, we want to get paid for our efforts, but will our pricing truly communicate the value and the worth? It's a great marketing tool if it's done properly to attract that client, while improper pricing could set up you for trouble as you're not getting paid enough for time that you're investing and the kinds of clients you want to deal with. So let's say you want to be super competitive and you're making sure that you have the best deal in town. But very soon you may realize that you've overshot it and you're not charging your customers enough. Before you know, you're deep in debt from the large overheads that you have incurred to be able to cater to this large sector of customers, large group of customers who is now attracted to you because of the pricing. So you have a large business, but you're not making enough money and your overheads are eating you up. When the pricing is too low, you're not making a profit. Regardless of how many customers you get, if you're not covering your expenses and still making revenue, your business will always be short-lived. Now imagine on the other side, you know you have a great business and you're sitting on a pot of gold. You know you're worth top dollar, but you also need everyone else to know about it. Unless you have the following, the marketing, the positioning to support the premium pricing, you're going to have a hard time convincing customers that they should pay the top dollar for what you have to offer. If you are now entering the market with charging far more than anyone else in industry, you're not going to have any business at all. No customers means no revenue. Without a steady flow of income, you run into the same problems as undercharging. So on one hand, you have the problem of undercharging and not covering your costs. On the other hand, you have overcharging and not making any revenue. So how do you avoid these two common mistakes when you're deciding how much to charge? Today, I'm going to give you a few strategies that you may want to look at when you're doing your pricing strategy or when you're doing your pricing. So the pricing strategy number one, price to your competitors, which is called the competitive parity. Though most entrepreneurs never want to think of themselves as average in their industry, pricing as part of competition in parity with competition is a good place to start. A common method of determining is what is happening in the marketplace. Take the top 3 companies in your industry and find the mathematical average. Just be aware that when you're pricing in direct relation to your competitors, you are most likely also going to be fluctuating in reaction to what happens in the marketplace by those companies. So you have to be ready to be flexible in playing around. So while this is a great point to start off with, but this is not a great method of pricing, because very soon you will be doing the reactive game rather than doing the proactive game. Pricing strategy number 2, break even. Especially when you're in the manufacturing setup, or even if you're in a service business, you need to know how much you need to make on a weekly, monthly basis to at least break even. Even if you're in a service industry, you know you have a fixed cost, mainly of overheads. And you know that what is the output of that team to deliver to the customer. So you have two parameters. One, the size of the team. Second, how much business can they manage. Now, taking both into account, you can now decide to set a price which at least will break even. This is a great place to start again when you're starting off business, to know that you are not losing money. Initially, in the first few months when you're starting businesses, you may lose money. Everyone loses money. And that's where what we have spoken in the past, where does your cash infusion come in from? But cash infusion is not a long-term sustainable method. You need to ensure that you're constantly breaking even. This is also called as a process of self-liquidating. You have to be careful though that you don't run the risk of break even to bankrupt. Because what typically happens is if you are creating your matrix based on a number of customers that you have and you don't have a regular funnel coming in, if one customer drops off, then from break even to bankrupt doesn't take too much time. The third pricing strategy is pricing to time, which people like we do, the consultants do, the professionals do, where we are putting ourselves with a time value of money. Many of us use the monthly retainer model or charging at different intervals based on milestone. For example, when you charge based on time, it benefits you to take a longer to complete the project, while the client is focused on getting the job done quickly. So while, especially in projects where the client wants a particular activity to be done and completed, the service provider may want to drag it on because his remuneration is based on time. This strategy, if not used properly, can lead to a conflict of interest. Because what does the client end of the day want to know? The client end of the day wants to know, when you're doing the professional services, that what is his financial downside? What's the planning that he has to make? So if it's a one-time project, and if it's based on time and the time overshoots, the client now gets cagey about paying that extra money. But if it's on an annual retainer model or a monthly retainer model which runs through the year with a certain set of deliverables, then it works fine, because the client, all of us want to know what is our downside for getting a work done. If you charge based on results, that's a different model altogether. You charge based on results to deliver top performance in a timely fashion, then the client is doubly happy, because he's not only paying for the time, but he's also paying for the value. Fifth, price to cost plus. So you do a cost plus. Every organization will have a different cost structure. Every geography could have a different cost structure. What we have seen is global players coming into India because Indian cost structures are lower. So often found in manufacturing, this method of charging is used to formulate a total price based on a markup percentage on the cost that is getting incurred. So important element out here is to have a constant look at your cost management. You have to reverse engineer constantly to look at whether you can do certain things at a lower cost without compromising on the quality and the deliverable. Strategy number 5, price to a package. We love this word discount. And clients, customers, prospects want to get that extra bit for the money that they're paying in terms of discount. One of the strategies that we recommend to people where it's possible, especially where packaging is possible, that instead of reducing the price, can you add on another component which the customer sees as value and does not impact your final top line. So combining products or services into a delivery system with a higher value than the price tag creates that irresistible offer. So instead of lowering the cost the customer pays, the package would increase the amount of benefit that the customer receives. Now for that, it's very important that the customers, that the salesperson and the organization understands what are the future needs of the clients, and knowing the future needs of the client and positioning that future need of the client will be extremely helpful. Sixth, price to positioning. What is the positioning of the product? And these two, sixth and seventh strategies, are the most important strategies. What is the positioning of the product? Why does the customer want to buy the product? Sometimes it's got to do with the supply and demand. But in most cases, what is the top of mind recall? What is the top of mind awareness of the product? Is it that the customer, you're pushing this product, or does the customer want to buy the product? When the customer wants to wants to take ownership of the product, rather than it being pushed down his throat, it becomes the price to positioning. Your communication, your marketing has been so powerful that the product has been positioned so well in the customer's mind as a solution provider for a problem that he's facing, that he's now willing to pay that extra $10 to get your product. But for that, clear definition of USPs, clear differentiation with competitors, clear understanding of the customer needs will not only have to be done, but also needs to be communicated back to the customer, because the customer now is buying knowledge. And finally, the seventh, price to value. This charging method is used frequently in high-ticket selling because the clients pay for premium results. The concept is very simple. You price your services based on the percentage of the results you bring to your clients. Whatever amount of increased revenue you deliver to them, you get a percentage. So I know some people globally in this coaching and consulting businesses, when they are coaching startups, they start with a low fee, but then for every milestone, they make a certain percentage. The focus now between both the parties are aligned and everyone is working to the same direction. The challenge is, how do you measure? What are the milestones? How do you ensure that the milestones are, if they're not met, is because of the lack of interest, effort by your clients. So you may be putting in a lot of effort, but if the clients don't put in a lot of effort, then there is a challenge. So the more the value you bring, the more you earn. There are no caps, no income ceilings, no limits to how much money you can make. You're getting paid by the value you bring to the time. So like in one of my clients, we said that there will be no capping of incentives. Go out and sell. So if you want to make more money, make that effort and go out and sell. So it's a very similar model, that how do you ensure that there is no capping of income. I've shared with you 7 strategies on how to charge your customers and clients. This does not have to be used separately and independently of each other. You can be creative with the way you combine and adapt these methods. I strongly suggest, ladies and gentlemen, to give it some thought. It's that most important decision that will have that big impact on your livelihood. This is where you decide whether your business stays or business goes. A lot of businesses we have seen has gone away, not because of bad quality of products, but because of wrong pricing strategies. Let not ego come in how you price your products. Let not self-denial that I am not good enough allow you or force you to charge a lower pricing. This is the most important decision that you're going to make. Putting the wrong pricing method on even the best product or service can lower the value tremendously. Be sure what you take into account what's happening in your industry, your specialization, and determine the best pricing model forward. Thank you so much for your time. I hope I've been able to add some value into how you price your products, especially in what is happening in the global scenario. Till next Monday morning with another set of business excellence strategies. It's a very good morning and take care of yourself.